Hey guys, in this video I want to go over the parts of the mill. These are not going to be every part that could possibly be on it because there's a lot of little pieces, but we're going to go kind of over the main parts and you're going to be quizzed on that later. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to kind of do the lower half and then we're going to zoom in and kind of talk about the upper head stuff a little bit more. First thing I want to point out, this is the column back here, this L-shaped piece. It's the base, everything's kind of held to that. It's the biggest weight, it kind of holds everything rigid. It's going to also be the weight that's going to keep it from falling over and things like that. Like I said, everything's connected to that, that column. There's a dovetail in here, in the inside here, you can't see because of some of these rubber covers, and that's where the knee is hooked on. This right here is the knee. It's kind of also what everything rides on the knee that's got most of your operating controls, okay? It's called the knee because it looks like a man's knee, I guess. I can't really see it, but that's what they tell me. So next I want to point out, we got the saddle here. The saddle is going to ride on the knee, and there's another set of dovetails on top of the knee that the saddle rides on. On top of the saddle, this is the table. All of this big flat surface that has the T-nuts slots cut into it. This table can go back and forth. You have get your manual controls right here. This one's for your Y-axis. This one's for your, this one's for your X-axis, and this one's for your Y-axis. Hopefully I don't screw you guys up there. Also want to point out, you got your automatic controls here and here for those two directions. Down here below, we got the column connecting up to the bottom of the knee. That's your height adjustment nut or screw. That's operated over here with this lever. You can go up or down depending on which way you'd like to go. I also want to point out we have our Gibbs here. These Gibbs, they operate or they lock down the slides or the I guess you call it the dovetail of the table, the saddle, even the knee has some too. The front ones are located here. You got some side ones down over here, and then you have even some back in the back to operate that Z-axis. Next, I want to point out you got your vise. This vise here is actually indexable. You can go ahead and position it at odd angles if you need be. It's not very typical that you do a lot of odd angle cuts on this one. You probably would use a rotary table or something like that. This one's pretty general cuts. The vise is held onto the table using T-nuts and bolts. You're going to see a bunch of these floating around. This used to be a project here in the shop. And if you feel interested, you're more than welcome to build some. They're just pretty much a nut that's shaped like a T. Okay. Also want to point out, you can see underneath here, these are called scales. These aluminum covers. These scales operate with the electronic controller, the DMC here. And what this is, it pretty much tells you the position of that spindle or end mills and such like that to wherever you set them. So you're going to go ahead and be working. You can zero it out, and then you can make cuts based off of the number readout in the X and Y axis. Okay, but they're all controlled right here off the scales on the back and the side. So if they get damaged or dirty, definitely can mess up that computer. Just want to point that out. Next we have our holder for all of our R8 collets. There's going to be more items that can screw into this spindle here. They're going to be located just behind me on the wall here in a little while. So next, let's go ahead and we're going to zoom in on the upper part of the mill over here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, I hope you guys can see everything. I kind of trying to get the whole head or headstock here is kind of difficult. So we're going to just start at the bottom, kind of work our way up. Over here, this is called the turret in here. This whole piece, and it can rotate from side to side in kind of an arcing motion, I guess you'd call it. Most of the time it's going to sit in this straight front to back motion. There might be some larger parts that we need to kind of swing over to kind of get to, and that's what that would be used for. Next we have this whole section up here, and this is called the ram, is typically what it's called. The ram can move forward and back, and then also houses the mechanism that can tilt the head front to back. Okay, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit about positioning, because you can also take the head and it can tilt front to back and side to side. So depending on what you want, and we're going to go over how to trim that head here in a little while. Next, let's talk about, you got your quill or your quill adjustment. This is just a drill press type item. You can go ahead and you can put a drill chuck in here and make, do some drilling actions. You got your drill or your quill lock here. You have your quill scale. We have our hand feed. We have our automatic in and out adjustment or not adjustment, but in and out drawbar. I guess your automatic drawbar. So you can put tools in here. Drawbar is going to pick them up and suck it in tight. Up here at the top, you have your actual drawbar. I don't know if it has a specific name, but it's pretty much just the motor that spins that drawbar. Okay. Some of the older style, you might see you'll have a big old handle up here to be spinning back and forth to tighten that drawbar up or loosen it. Very tiring. So be thankful we got this. Next, we got our feed rate adjustment screw here. Then we go into we got our actual front panel that's going to go and tell us what feed or what speed we're running at. Got your on off or forward and reverse switch right here. We also got our brake. Lastly, let's just talk about a little bit about up here. There's a belt slash gearbox slash like centrifugal clutch up in here that operates all the speeds. It handles all the gearing. It does everything. Okay. Hopefully you're lucky enough we never have to tear into this while you're taking classes, but it has happened before. Up on the very top we have our motor. Not much really to talk about that. Right here is just our high-low adjustment, or our switch gears from high to low. That's pretty much kind of the quick run through of all the different parts. If you had any questions or need to know anything more about some of the parts, just let me know. I'd be more than willing to go over it again with you guys. It's pretty basic, okay?